Relations Committee. Members of this committee, could you please identify yourselves?
Tom Bergender.
Other board members, could you please identify yourselves?
Emma Schuker.
Senator Williams.
Laura
Tia
Stohinky.
McClellan.
Sorry.
Tia
Jen
McClellan.
Liptak. I think that's Tia as well, right, Tia?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. The minutes from the February 19th, 2026 meeting of this committee has been circulated. Unless anyone has any questions or corrections, I would like to ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
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 All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We will now hear from Mike Cetra on a resolution seeking authorization to enter into a contribution and cooperation agreement for the 2026 NFL Draft Service. Mr. Cetra.
Good morning, Committee Chair Turman, other committee members and board members. The resolution that I have for the committee's consideration this morning would authorize PRT to enter into a contribution and cooperation agreement with the Greater Pittsburgh Convention and Visitors Bureau Educational Foundation, that's a mouthful, for 2026 NFL Draft Service. The foundation is a not-for-profit organization established and managed by Visit Pittsburgh to assist Visit Pittsburgh in promoting tourism in Allegheny County. Visit Pittsburgh is managing the 2026 Draft Local Organizing Committee and is working with the NFL and various other regional partners and stakeholders, including PRT, to ensure the region is prepared to host the NFL Draft from April 23rd through April 25th, 2026. PRT has been working closely with Visit Pittsburgh and the foundation to prepare a plan to provide supplemental fixed route bus and light rail vehicle services during the draft. Specifics about this plan will be issued in the near future by Visit Pittsburgh and the NFL, but at a very high level, the plan will include additional trips on certain routes, basically from each part of the region during the draft to make sure that we're prepared for the additional amount of people that we anticipate during those days of the draft. Recognizing that PRT will expend additional funds and resources to provide this additional service, the foundation has identified funding in the amount of $350,000 to help support the additional service and offsets PRT's costs for providing that service. Subject to PRT board approval, PRT and foundation representatives have negotiated the proposed terms of the agreement that would include the foundation paying PRT that contribution payment in the amount of $350,000 within 30 days of PRT's completion of the additional draft services, and also ensure ongoing collaboration and cooperation between PRT and the foundation of Visit Pittsburgh in communicating with the public regarding the details of the service plan as we get closer to the draft. Before I ask for member questions, I did want to recognize we have representatives from Visit Pittsburgh with us this morning, and I believe that they may want to say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I do want to acknowledge PRT and IUPA for all of the support that we've been getting for the draft planning process over the last almost 3 years now. So could not have imagined this process without the incredible engagement that we've received from PRT and all of our partners. So thank you very much to Catherine and the entire team. This is an incredible opportunity. As we know, the NFL Draft is going to be one of the largest events that the Commonwealth has ever hosted, much less the city of Pittsburgh. So we're expecting somewhere between 500 and 700,000 fans to be in the downtown area during the draft. We shouldn't shy away from that. We shouldn't let that number scare us. Just this last weekend, we hosted close to 200 to 300,000 people for the St. Patrick's Day Parade. I think Pittsburghers are as in love with Irish heritage as they are with the Steelers. So the numbers will continue to prove out. But this is nothing that we haven't done before. So it's an exciting time. The transportation program that we're going to launch here in the next week is a really strong multimodal, holistic approach to getting Pittsburghers into the downtown area in a safe and secure manner. So we're going to continue to push this forward. It's the best way for football fans to get downtown is on public transportation. So we're really thankful for the support that we continue to get from PRT and all of our partners. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jared. I couldn't have said it any better, and I am wearing my green tie still for St. Patrick's Day week here. So, subject to any member questions, Committee Chair Turman, I would respectfully request that the committee recommend this resolution authorizing PRT to enter into the contribution and cooperation agreement with the foundation in an agreement form approved by PRT legal counsel to the full board for approval.
Do any committee members have any questions?
Yes, Madam Chair, just a quick question. Thank you for all your work and doing this agreement. I look forward to seeing what the plan is for the routes. I know a lot of people just what that is going to look like. This is $350,000 to help offset PRT's additional costs. Do we know what additional, does it cover all of PRT's additional costs, or what is the delta that we are covering?
That is a great, oh, you want this one? I'm going to turn it over to Catherine.
Mike, good morning, Senator Williams. Mike will find it. Dominica will have the answer too, but I'm closer to the front. This is for the additional rail service that we anticipate running. We will be running every single car that we can have out there. That will, of course, require additional electric, additional manpower, additional maintenance. So this covers the additional rail service, right? No, I got to know. Bus and rail? Bus. Oh, see, I should have let Dominica come fix it. Just bus. Bus and extra subway local. Okay. So it covers the additional buses because we've got a lot that's out there, and it covers the subway local, which is what we anticipate being used the most for downtown.
Okay, buses and subway local, not maintenance or rail.
So the maintenance cost is baked in there, and the subway local is the rail. So anything which is additional in the downtown circulation is covered in the agreement.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right.
Appreciate it.
I'm not going to get up again because thank you.
Any other questions? May I have a motion?
So
Motion.
To advance the resolution to the full board?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
To accuse us.
Ask for the vote first. You can ask for the vote first.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 And I'm recusing myself from this vote due to a possible conflict. Vote passes.
Thank you.
Next, we will hear a presentation from Emily Provanchi. It will update the committee on the bus line refreshment update.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Hi, I'm Emily Provancha, Manager of Service Development. I'm also wearing green pants, so St. Patty's Day. I'm going to go to the first slide. There we go. First, quickly, because yesterday was Transit Employee Appreciation Day, I wanted to show appreciation for Ben Nicklow and Jake Stockman because this second draft was made through hours and hours and hours of hard work on the service development team. So we so greatly appreciate being able to share this with you all. And we also greatly appreciate our project team. So collectively, we're all excited to share this second draft over the next 3 months. So with that, the second draft isn't a full redesign, it's a refresh. It's a smarter, stronger network that keeps most of our familiar routes while boosting reliability, frequency, and connections, and also weekend and evening service. When we evaluated our second draft based on our 3 main goals, we have several metrics to share with you about how the proposals meet our goals. So compared to the network that we have today for our first goal, The second draft improves service quality and reliability by almost doubling the number of routes that have 20-minute or better frequency from 11 to 18 routes. It increases the number of routes with 30-minute or better frequency from 27 routes to 43 routes. And no route would be more than 60-minute frequency. So as you all know, we have a lot of routes in our system today that are greater than 60-minute frequency. So really, we focused on increasing frequency and also 7-day, all-day service. For our second goal, we really tried to prioritize equitable investment of our resources. And we reallocated some underutilized service in areas where there is less transit dependency and demand to areas of greater need. So 28% more residents in those communities would have access to more frequent service and more access to jobs. And our third goal focused on expanding connections. If I had more time, I would go into detail about all the new connections and I could talk to you for hours. But there are more than 39 new direct connections in the second draft between communities, helping riders get to where they need to go without having to transfer downtown. We heard that a lot from our first draft. So the second draft bakes in actually more than 39 direct connections out of the 795 origin destination pairs we looked at. So a key point I wanted to also make is there would be new direct routes to Oakland. We heard a lot about that. And finally, and importantly, 99.2% of our existing riders would still have access to transit. So this is our overall second draft map. It includes more of the existing service that performs well. It includes proposals from the first draft that riders really liked. And it refines some outstanding issues that riders raised. It reflects that most of the public feedback valued increasing frequency over retaining all coverage of our existing network and improving service reliability and expanding connections. So I just wanted to focus on that. And now we'll talk about the route naming and numbering proposal we have. So it's meant to make it easier for riders to understand whether the route primarily serves downtown or Oakland or just connects cross town between neighborhoods without going downtown or Oakland. And then we have the PRTX routes, the commuter flyers, and the busway routes. So the prefix letters listed here indicates that information of where it primarily serves. And then the route name that follows on the head sign indicates where the route begins or ends. And then the head sign will also show the main corridor served. As for the numbers, we attempted to retain all numbers. People are, the numbers are very important. So we tried to keep them the same as possible. However, through proposed route design changes, sometimes we knit two routes together. We had to choose a number. Sometimes they're new routes. We had to pick a new number. So some examples here on the slide are, again, for the D routes that terminate downtown, the D16 Emsworth, because that's where we're proposing the route terminate, via Brighton Road, for example, or a new O route that terminates in Oakland, the O45, Carrick, Oakland, East Liberty. So just giving you a few examples there. Our frequent network map. This map shows the breadth of routes proposed to have 20-minute or better frequencies. So you can see that these routes stretch in almost every direction. This includes the P1, which we're proposing every 5-minute frequency at peak, and the 51 route with every 10-minute frequency at peak, and the PRTX routes every 15-minute at peak, and many new routes with 20-minute frequencies at peak. What this map doesn't show is that there are also many corridors throughout the network that have multiple routes overlapping that provide combined high frequency of service. And we're working on an interactive map to share that with you on our project website. This slide shows that, there is a trade-off with making all of these improvements. So with a cost-neutral planning process that we have, there's very little service we can simply add in without taking it from somewhere else. So that's what this slide means to demonstrate. PRT tried to identify where we have the most underutilized segments of routes with the lowest ridership. And we thought about how we could do more with the limited resources we have. The second draft retains service for 99.2% of our current riders, and it provides them with a network that has more frequent service, improved reliability, and more connections. The trade-off here is that we are proposing to also eliminate some segments throughout the county that have low ridership, and that's what's shown in the map with the red lines. By eliminating these segments that would impact 0.8% of our current riders, we're able to reinvest around 10% of our resources to service that provides service for the 99.2% of riders that would still have service. So what the reinvestment looks like is that there would be a few fewer commuter flyers. There would be more 7-day all-day service. There would be more service hours spent providing revenue service rather than just driving to and from the garage. There would be more frequency. There would be 2% more service weekday, 20% more service Saturday, and 18% more service Sunday. So again, I just wanted to explain a little bit about the trade-off on this slide. Downtown service. There would still be 58 routes serving downtown. There would be 6 commuter flyers, and 91% of our current riders would still have direct downtown access. The P1 frequency, again, would be every 5 minutes. Overall, there would be slightly less service AM and PM peak, but there would be more service to downtown throughout the day and on the weekends. Now, Oakland. There would be 21 routes serving Oakland. Again, new routes direct to Oakland from the North Hills and South Hills. The 28X would serve all West Busway stations to Oakland and East Liberty with no stop restrictions. The 71C, access to Uptown and Downtown, would be restored, and this route would become a PRTX route. And the P3 would remain as it is today, but with increased frequency, and it would have weekend service. And overall service to Oakland would increase during the midday and weekends. Engagement. We have over 60 engagement events planned. We have already kicked off those events between March and May. We've already spent 24 hours at all 4 bus garages, talking with hundreds of bus operators and staff there. We met with Braddock Hills so far. We popped up downtown at Liberty and Market. We went to Northview Heights. We also went to Oakland yesterday. Tonight we'll be in Knoxville. So we're replicating our efforts from the first draft where we did a very robust public engagement. And I just wanted to emphasize that I hope the public feels heard with the second draft. And really, we spent all of last year working through all those 12,000 comments. And again, we're going to replicate our engagement efforts here. And there are many ways to participate. Obviously, meetings and pop-ups throughout the county, but our project website is equally robust. There are many interactive pages. There's a network map you can drop comments on. There's a find your route page where you can slide the map back and forth, existing versus proposed. You can take route level surveys, and you can also participate in our Q&A on our website. The service development team, the 3 of us actually respond to people's comments on the website. So also, if you're a transit app user, you can use the feature that we created to test your trips with the second draft in the transit app. And there are instructions on our project website to do that. You can always just call customer service. You can always email us, write us a handwritten letter. There are many ways to participate. And then we have an upcoming in-person public meeting at the August Wilson Center, April 7th, 5 to 7 p.m. Wanted to highlight that. And also our website link is listed on the slide here, buslinerefresh.com, where all of our events are posted. Our project timeline. So we launched the second draft and the transit app on February 27th. March through May, we'll have over 60 events with the public and our stakeholders and bus operators. June and July, we will have Busline Refresh public hearings. In the fall, we would submit our final BLR plan to the PRT board, and then pending board approval, we would look to start implementing in 2027. And that's my last slide. I don't know if there's any questions. I'm happy to answer.
Do any committee members have any questions? The board members?
All right, thank you.
We will now hear another presentation from Jeffrey Devlin, who will update the committee on the ridership report.
Yes, good morning, all. I did want to note, last month, Amy Silverman did a nice extensive presentation to you on how our passenger counters work and how we do our calculation of our ridership. What we're going to move into this month is more direct information on the ridership numbers from January as they've been calculated. I do want to take a moment and thank the folks who have their fingers in the data all day, working through these and doing this analysis. That would be Sam Windward and Alain Bajani from our data team and Lee McClellan from our operations team. I will also note that last month, folks were asking in terms of ridership about the past programs and how they are doing. That presentation is slated for today. It'll happen in the next committee meeting by Kelsey Shannon. So with that said, the first slide here is our bus ridership from January. And I'm just going to focus on a couple of the key metrics here. That is looking at our comparison to the prior month, where on the weekdays we were up 4%, Saturdays we were down 1%, and Sundays we were up 2%. Year over year, we were actually up 2.5% on the weekdays and Saturdays and down 4.7% on the Sundays. I will note that we had a bit of a snowstorm in January. Does anyone remember that? So I was mildly surprised that our ridership weekday went up month over month, considering that it was kind of hard to get around the city. The only explanation there I have is folks' cars were completely snowed in, so they jumped on the bus instead. You will see the effect potentially of that snowstorm in the light rail ridership, where our weekday ridership compared to the prior month, compared to December, actually went down 4%. Our Saturday went up 4% and our Sundays went up 15% compared to December. So we did see a bit of a lag, potentially due to the snowstorm. That's just my guess as I'm standing up here from the prior month of folks who just stayed home to work remote that week. Now, year over year, our weekday ridership actually went up for 39.3%, potentially, and I'm guessing here due to the tunnel work that was occurring the prior year, but I could be wrong on that one. Our Saturday did go down 24% compared to last January, and our Sunday service went up 6.5% compared to last year. Before I move on, do I have any questions on the ridership numbers? Very good. And lastly, I want to share with you some on-time performance numbers. We focus with every pick to improve how effectively we can have our operators keep on schedule. And in the last pick, which happened in October, we were trending very nicely and things were looking good. Unfortunately, there's, as I mentioned, a bit of a snowstorm that really affected us back in January and hurt our OTP for that time period from October pick till now. We are trending in the right direction. With the pick that went in February, we are currently at a 68% on-time performance, which is very solid, and hopefully we'll be able to continue that into the coming months. So any questions on on-time performance? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Does the committee have any questions? If there's not any, thank you again. That ends the agenda for this committee today. So may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Adjourn. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Finance Committee. Members of the committee, can you please identify yourselves? Other board members, can you please identify yourselves?
Tom Burgunder.
Stephanie Turner.
Tia McClinney.
Jen
Laura
Littach?
Stohinky.
Thank you. The minutes from the February 19th, 2026 meeting of this committee have been circulated. Unless anyone has any questions or corrections, I'll ask for a motion to approve those minutes. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We will now hear from Dominica Brown on a resolution seeking authorization to extend and amend the agreement with Acrisure Mid-Atlantic Partners Insurance Services LLC to provide pension plan actuarial services. Ms. Brown, please proceed.
Good morning, Madam Chair, fellow committee and board members. I will not repeat that, but in August 2021, the board approved us entering into an agreement with Acrisure for plan actuarial services, pension plan actuarial services. It was a 4-year agreement with 2 option years. There are several services included in that, including reports that are according to Government Accounting Standards Board, actuarial reports, and services during labor negotiations. In this resolution, we would like for the board to authorize PRT to exercise the first option year, and that would increase the not to exceed amount by $318,700. And the new not to exceed amount is $1,401,050. So if there are no questions, I respectfully request that this resolution be submitted to the full board for consideration.
Do any committee members have questions for Ms. Brown? Do any other board members in attendance have questions? Okay. May I have a motion to advance this resolution to the full board?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next, we will hear a presentation from Kelsey Shannon, who will update the committee on the quarterly PASS program update. Shannon, floor is yours.
Thank you, and good morning, committee and board. My name is Kelsey Shannon, and I'm the Deputy Chief of Strategic Initiatives. As Jeffrey mentioned a little while ago, I'm going to give a quick update on our PASS programs. Specifically today, I understand that you're looking for information on our Partner PASS program and job perks. So for both of these, we set goals of increasing participating entities for FY26. And as we are at the halfway point through FY26 now, we are on our way to accomplishing these goals. With Partner Pass, we had the goal from increasing from 0 at this time last year to 10 participating entities. Currently, technically right now we're at 4, but we have 2 contracts pending. And I'm very excited that both of these contracts will have over 500 riders. And that's fantastic because we also had the goal of having at least 1 anchor entity, which we had defined as over 250 riders at a specific entity. So with these 2, we will be achieving that goal as well. And then over halfway to our end of fiscal year goal. And with Partner Pass, we have with Job Perks, we have the goal of increasing from 74 participating entities to 82, and we have 2 more there. And so we have 76 currently enrolled. So by the end of fiscal year, hopefully we will have that 82. We're well on our way for that. And just a little bit of information about how we got there, maybe. There we go. Right, so with the Partner Pass, we have sent out postcards. We've done promotional ads in local newsletters and email blasts, and through different local groups, and posted info across our social medias and done a few radio spot ads there as well. And we're going to continue with those sort of promotions, but also within the next few months, we're going to participate in additional opportunities to pitch Partner Pass to folks that have engaged with job perks in the past. So as you noticed probably from the previous slide, we would prefer for folks to get on Partner Pass rather than job perks. So we're focusing our efforts there, although, certainly we welcome folks on job perks if that works better for them. And we're expanding our onboarding for Partner Pass. So Paulina Mandeville, who's leading this program, will be participating in some webinars and has been putting together some training documents with our communications team. That's my update on those programs. So I'll pause there to see if there are any questions.
Can you tell us of the organizations that have committed to Partner Pass, who some of the largest participants are to date?
Sure. So the 4 that currently have contracts are all less than 100 riders per participating entity. I'm not confident that I'm at liberty to share the specific names of those entities. But I think it is public knowledge that the city is going to be signing on, and that's one of the 2 that are of the contracts that are pending.
Are there other committee members who might have questions? I have 2 questions. One was, are we thinking about targeting employers who are doing return to work, return to office? I'm thinking of PC, BNY, and I'm sure there are many others. Are we targeting specifically those businesses?
Yes, absolutely.
And are they showing interest?
Thus far, what we have found is that, they are interested, and then they hear about kind of the 100% participation, and then maybe they're a little less interested. And so we've certainly had those conversations, and we'll continue to have those conversations and try to encourage them to participate. But that's why we're happy to have the Job Perks program as well, right? So that if they're not quite ready to commit 100% for 100% participation in the Partner Pass, then we have that Job Perks program. I will also note that when we started the Partner Pass program, we mentioned that we would be back at 18 months to propose some alterations, some changes based on what we have learned from the kind of conversations that you're mentioning, Senator Williams. To make some adjustments to the program. So that 18-month mark is, I think, set to be like October-ish of this year. So hopefully we can take some of that information that we have been learning from these conversations of folks that are maybe have a little cold feet on what we've outlined for the program right now, and we can make some adjustments to encourage their participation. But yeah, that 18-month mark, I think, is October.
And my other question was about targeting maybe community healthcare organization. So I recently met with one of them in my district who provides healthcare for patients who make on average less than $25,000 a year. So I'm thinking that they would be, both employees for Partner Pass or Job Perks, but also wanting to make sure that these organizations are aware of Allegheny Go. We didn't talk about that specifically today, but I think that's part of this, right.
Yes, definitely. So I know that, I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing.
If somebody, there we go. I think whoever it was muted themselves.
I think what I gathered from what you were asking is, have we engaged with community healthcare entities? Yes, we have, and noted specifically with Allegheny Go. I know that the county has plans to tap into their network of community healthcare programs more specifically in the next coming months, but I will let the county speak on their plans.
Okay. Thank you very much. Do any other members have questions? Thank you, Ms. Shannon. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I just want to note one other thing, that our current UPass contracts are all expiring around the start of FY27. So We plan to bring a proposed contract extension and amendment to the board within the next 2 months. So just wanted to give that heads up to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and lastly for our agenda, we will now hear again from Dominica Brown regarding the review of February 2026 financial statements. Ms. Brown, the floor is yours again.
Okay, good morning again. So for February revenue, we are seeing that revenue is back up to where we would expect it to be this month. And I just want to mention that a part of the reason for the lower revenue in January, which, throughout the years, we do see that dip between January and February, but last month was larger than expected, but that was just because of timing of some invoicing for PPS revenue. And so that's kind of doubled up in February. But even considering that, February is still above budget for the fares and revenue, and then also higher than last year. So revenues for the month of February are $800,000 higher than budgeted. Most of that is due to fares, as I just mentioned, but also interest income. Expenses for the month of February are $3.3 million below our budgeted amount. And that is due to every category being under the budgeted amount, but mostly wages and benefits. Subsidies for the month of February are $2.7 million below budget, and that is primarily due to capitalizations. And then revenue for the year to date for February is $2.7 million above budgeted, and that is still due to higher interest income. Expenses for the year to date as of February are $32.6 million below budget. Again, primarily all categories are below budget, but wages and benefits, primarily benefits, are the main drivers for that variance. And subsidies for the month of year to date for February are $3.3 million below budgeted amounts for the same, for the same reason as mentioned previously. When we consider our reserves, the month of February began with $377 million in reserves. There were cash inflows of $53.7 million and outflows of $44.5 million. And so the month of February operating reserves ended at $386.2 million. Are there any questions?
Do any members have any questions? Do any other board members in attendance have questions? Thank you, Dominica, for your report. And that is the end of our agenda for today. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
All right, meeting adjourned.
Good morning, Madam Chair, fellow board members, and all who are present. I will now call to order the Performance Oversight Committee. Will other committee members please identify yourselves?
Senator
Laura
Williams.
Laura Stohinky.
Will other board members please identify yourselves?
Tom Bergender.
Stephanie Turner.
The minutes of the February
Jan Liptak.
The minutes of the February 2026 Performance Oversight Committee meeting have been circulated. Unless there are any questions, may I have a motion to approve these minutes?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We will now have proposed resolutions, first beginning with the awarding of bids by Justin Cava.
Thank you and good morning, committee members. I have one item today for your consideration. Bid number B2511-76. It was for trained wayside communication antennas. These are utilized in the maintenance and repair of PRT's LRV fleet. 355 suppliers were notified of the bid opportunity. 2 suppliers accepted the invitation. 2 bids were received. A recommendation that a contract be awarded to Hanning and Call LP in the estimated amount of $376,830. This contract duration will be over a 2-year period with no renewal options. And the picture that you see here is an actual photo of the train to wayside antennas. They're installed one on each end of the cars. What happens is the LRV operators, they input the codes into the TWC encoder, and this communicates with any wayside equipment to operate the switches that guide the LRV through the system. Subject to any further questions, I respectfully request this bid be taken to the full board for approval.
Do any board members have questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion to move this to the full board?
So
Motion.
moved.
And I'll take that as all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Cava.
Thank you.
We will now have presentations for authorizations, starting with Mike Setra and Chad Snyder.
Good morning, Committee Chair McClenny, other committee members and board members. This first resolution that Chad and I have for the committee's consideration this morning would authorize PRT to amend its Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan, or PTASP for short, based upon federal and state required annual review that is required of our PTASP. Before I present the resolution, I am going to turn it over to our Deputy Chief Safety Officer, Chad Snyder, who will provide the committee a brief presentation concerning some further background and history on our PTASP.
Good morning. As Mike said, I'm going to talk briefly about the 2026 PTASP. It was originally adopted back in June of 2020 and was rolled out to the agency in July of 2020. So this replaced the System Safety Program Plan, which we had used for several years prior as part of an FTA regulation. Just as a note, PRT was the first transit agency to have its PTASP approved, board approved in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So basically the role of the PTASP is to lay out how PRT plans to implement and use its safety management systems, or SMS. SMS is a federal requirement under 49 CFR 673 and 674. It's also required by PennDOT's State Safety Oversight Program standard. The definition basically of what SMS is it provides a collaborative approach to managing public transit agency safety, in which management and represented employees work together to identify hazards and mitigate same. So there's basically 4 components to SMS. There's the safety policy, safety assurance, safety risk management, and safety promotion. So with inside the PTASP, these are all laid out in great detail as to how PRT plans to implement all 4 of these. SMS is very similar to the system safety method that we used to use under the System Safety Program Plan. SMS just kind of highlights a little bit more on the top-down approach. It uses data a little bit more and also requires employee safety reporting. Just a quick history of the PTASP and the board action that we've had previously. So again, it was approved in June of 2020, and then each year afterwards. You'll note that we generally are approving the previous year's PTASP just because of the amount of work that goes into updating it every year, making sure that we have all the new requirements in there, and then it has to go through a review process. And then once that's done, it goes through an approval process, which the last step is board approval. So I'll turn it back over to Mike.
Thank you, Chad. And I also would like to recognize the key role beyond Chad that our Chief Safety Officer, Bert Jennings, who is in a conference this week, and our Chief of Police, Matt Porter, who is in the crowd somewhere, I believe, there it is, play in are working through our annual updates and making sure, our ongoing compliance with the PTASP. Just briefly here on this slide, you'll see some of the key changes are highlighted, including additional safety performance measures were added. We further expanded and clarified the Executive Safety Committee, which is our Joint Management Labor Committee. Some of those, their additional duties to make sure that it remains consistent with federal and state requirements. Safety performance targets were more clearly defined to meet the risk-based inspection program compliance requirements, which is a relatively new program adopted at the federal level that has carried on through the state and then to the transit agencies over the last couple of years here. And then the plan was also streamlined to remove some outdated content. And finally, every year we go through it, make sure that divisions, departments, key personnel line up with the actual reality of how the organization is organized. Subject to any further member questions, I would respectfully request that the committee recommend this resolution to formally approve and implement our updated PTASP, our 2026 PTASP, reflecting 2025 updates to the full board for approval.
All right, thank you. And thank you to Bert and Matt. Do any board members have any questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion to move this to the full board?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Our next presentation for authorization will be presented by Mike Setra.
Thank you. This second resolution I have for the committee's consideration this morning would authorize PRT to enter into agreements with a pool of firms to provide investigative services for a primary agreement term of 3 years with 2 PRT optional extension years in a total authorized not to exceed amount for all agreements of $150,000. In January 2026, PRT publicly advertised RFP number 26-06, seeking a pool of qualified firms to provide the investigative services to PRT to essentially to support our self-insured third-party liability and workers' compensation claims programs, along with providing some support to our HR division regarding applicant background checks and things of that nature. Some of the things that are handled through here through the investigators is locating, interviewing witnesses for claims, gathering documents and evidence that may be relevant to claims investigations, and transporting claimants to independent medical examinations. They also, again, as I noted, complete background checks and related services for applicants for employment with PRT. 5 proposals were received in response to the RFP by the submission deadline. An evaluation committee comprised of representatives from the AIS Finance, HR, and Legal divisions evaluated the proposals, and as detailed in the resolution summary in your committee packets, found that all proposers were qualified to provide the services and submitted fair and reasonable pricing. Staff therefore recommends the award of agreements to all 5 proposers: Becker & Company, Inc., Command Investigations, LLC, CSI Corporate Security Investigations, LLC, Insight Investigations, Inc., and Specialty Private Investigators, Inc. for a primary agreement term of 3 years with 2 PRT optional extension years and a total authorized not to exceed amount for all agreements of $150,000. Again, that would be assigned to the firms based on their areas of expertise on a work task order specific basis. Subject to any questions that members may have, I would respectfully request that the committee recommend this resolution to the full board for approval.
All right, do any board members have questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion to move this to the full board?
Motion.
So moved.
And I'll take that as a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
Thank you, Mike and Chad. And for our last presentation, that will be presented by Greg O'Hare.
Good morning. This resolution seeks authorization to award construction contract for PAN-25-05 for Panhandle Bridge rehabilitation. On the left-hand side of the slide here is a line diagram of our light rail system, noting where the Panhandle Bridge is between Station Square and First Avenue. On the right-hand side of the slide is an aerial view of the location of the Panhandle Bridge with the Monongahela River in the middle. Panhandle Bridge going from Station Square to First Avenue. The bridge itself is highlighted in red, and the work area goes all the way to the jailhouse tunnel. On the left is a typical view from on top of the Panhandle Bridge where the trains run. You can see the rail there in the concrete deck. The bridge was originally constructed in 1902 and then retrofitted by PRT in 1984 for light rail vehicles. On the right-hand side are two pictures just to illustrate the general condition of the bridge. The top picture shows significant corrosion of the steel members. The bottom picture shows paint deterioration and corrosion of the steel members. Yes, ma'am, it is safe. Yes. The scope of work generally consists of steel and concrete rehabilitation, navigation, walkway, and dynamic decorative lighting, bridge painting, stone masonry, pier rehabilitation, rail and overhead catenary replacement, and temporary traffic control. The contract duration is 950 calendar days, so that's approximately 32 months. The work will go through 2028. We do anticipate, as publicly noted in prior presentations, some service impacts starting in 2027 with single track operations with bus and light rail detours, along with some periodic closures with bus bridges. The lowest bidder is Mercedes Construction Company with a bid of $57,977,777. Pending any questions, I respectfully request the committee move this resolution to the full board for consideration.
All right, do any committee or board members have questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion to move this to the full board? Is there a motion?
Moved.
Can I get
Second.
a? All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. O'Hare.
Thank you.
That concludes our meeting for today. Do any board members have questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
I'd like to call the Technology Committee to order. Would members of the committee please identify themselves? All other board members?
Stephanie Kerman.
Tia McClenny.
Jen Liptak.
Laura Stohinky.
Senator Williams.
The Technology Committee last met on February 19, and minutes from that meeting have been distributed. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Now we have a presentation from Justin Cava.
Thank you and good morning, committee members. I have one item today for your consideration. Bid number B26-03 was for Nutanix Cloud Infrastructure License Renewal. This is utilized by PRT's infrastructure group for the support of PRT's virtual desktop environments. 1,157 suppliers were notified of the bid opportunity. 18 suppliers accepted the invitation. 13 bids were received. A recommendation that a contract be awarded to SciTech Incorporated in the estimated amount of $504,002.70. Contract duration will be over a 3-year period with no renewal options. Subject to any further questions, I respectfully request this bid be taken in the full board for approval.
Are there any questions from members of the committee? Any questions from other board members? Do I have a motion to take this bid to the board?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next, we have a presentation from Dominica Brun.
Okay, good morning again. So we wanted to show an example of some of the technologies that we're using within the organization. And so we're going to give a presentation. Well, I'm going to give a presentation on or the budget software that we are currently in the middle of implementing and have actually started to use. So the award for our budget software was in 2025, spring of 2025, and we began implementation in May. So certain pieces that are implemented right now is the integration of the software with PeopleSoft. PeopleSoft is the software that we use for our accounting system with an organization. And we are also able to upload personnel information. And so what that's going for us right now during this budget cycle is we are able to use the software not at its full capacity, but we are able to use it for our look backs and our forecasting and things of that nature. What is still in progress is the integration of personnel so that we won't need to upload it. It would automatically be integrated into the system with daily uploads. There is a report feature, and that is expected to be fully implemented this summer. Dashboards will also be implemented this summer. Our capital piece of the software will be implemented. So right now, everything that I referenced so far was mostly on operations focused. And then the budget book and open book would be late fall. A lot of these features will still have some additional add-ons and works, but these are days when we imagine that they'll be mostly functioning and live. So a quick overview of our software capabilities. It is a full cycle budgeting solution that includes the planning, forecasting, management, and reporting for budgeting. And it encompasses the entire organization. So operating, capital, and it's on a division and departmental level. So many throughout the organization, as we're going through our budget cycle, folks on my team have monthly, regular, weekly at this point meetings with all of the divisions, the chiefs and the directors and anyone else who needs to we need to have a conversation with in order to understand what needs to go into the budget, what might change, and things of that nature. So this now allows us to use the software for folks to have more of a hands-on interactive opportunity to input information in on their own and use some of the features of the software. So the key benefits that we see this feature providing to us is the improved efficiencies with the budget development, budget management, and accuracy. The software gives us one consolidated place for all of our budget information. Prior to this, we were using Excel spreadsheets. One might have detailed information on wages and salaries. The other might have detailed information on maintenance needs or energy costs and the escalations there. So, and then it all would roll up into another spreadsheet. So a lot of redundancies, also room for potential errors. So this software, having everything in one place, mostly automated, things of that nature, allows us to reduce our potential for errors as well as just be able to work more efficiently. The transparency, so there are documentation and stages, and I'll get more into that later on in the presentation, but essentially documentation throughout every action that you do, there is a track record of that is auditable within the software. And stages allows there to be complete transparency throughout the agency for everyone who is using the software to know exactly where we are within the budgeting process. Reporting, there are 4 types of reports: print reports, smart reports, comparison reports, and then variance analyses. And then data modeling allows us to put in multiple scenarios and do some pretty interesting and complex forecasting. So for our improved efficiencies, and some of these photos are just kind of like screenshots within our system, and then also examples of what we look forward to having once other features of the software are completely implemented. So this is not intended for you all to be able to read these numbers, but just to show an example of what we're able to do within the system. This report is showing us actuals, budget for prior periods, things of that nature, the variance there, and it's all broken out throughout our accounting accounts, and we're able to click and drill down and do exploration throughout all of that. So it's quick, accurate. There are nightly updates, as I mentioned, and automatic notification to users whenever there are different updates or things that folks might need to know. If I need to nudge someone and say, hey, can you provide this information? Or if they need to send something back, we'll get automatic notifications. There are programmed workflows on every level throughout the software. We're able to have automatic calculating of employee wages, including the step progressions, maybe because of negotiated wages and things of that nature. And we're able to allocate those specific rules based on the groups within, our employees. There is seamless integration throughout the software. So again, as I mentioned before, we have elimination of redundant files. This is an example of a dashboard. So obviously, dashboards make things simple, it's quick at a glance, understanding of where things are, what you might need to know, fully customizable. So it's something that we in the finance division, as well as everyone throughout the agency, can benefit from. What I mentioned about transparency, that bar across the top of the screen, the green, black, and gray green means that, it goes into showing like the stages of where we are. So what's completed, what's in the works, and then what is still to come. This is an example of a print report. So the print reports were able to simply go in, create reports. The smart reports are able to be a lot more customized. We can connect smart reports to our Power BI in-house, so that will allow us to get into a lot more details around the key information that we might need and want to have. For example, our revenue hours and miles, things of that nature, metrics that we need to usually calculate manually for the NTD. We're able to quickly just program the software to get that for us. And this is just an example of a variance report. And with these variance reports, we're able, and it's actual compared to budget, but we're able to require explanations so that, say, for example, there was a holdup with maybe getting invoicing in. And so the budget that we have for the month of January is far lower than expected for one division. They can easily put in, oh, the invoice just hasn't come in for these services yet. Expect to see that soon, right? So we can have explanations and understand and be able to, tell the story of what's happening with an organization when we compare actuals to budget and things of that nature. So for data modeling, scenarios and forecasting are the two key features. In scenarios, we're able to create multiple scenarios like best and worst case or what ifs. The photo here is an example of our banking services costs. So we have a kind of like I would call it a status quo expectation of our costs based on how we're currently operating, but we know that we will soon be implementing TAP on all of our services, which would increase our banking costs because of the service costs for the TAP there. So we were able to put in a scenario for once that's implemented, what would those costs look like based on the volume that we're predicting. And forecasting, it uses historical data and assumptions, and we uploaded our actual information all the way back to 2019 so that we're able to have a bit of time pre-COVID, but also, the most recent relevant years in order to provide good information for how we're forecasting in the future and what we expect our costs to be. So this is just an example of forecasting, and it's starting with 2027, and it just goes out based on what the system knows based from our previous costs and expenses. For capital, we'll be able to have multi-year capital budgets, reporting on our capital expenditures, also the scenario capabilities, we're able to use the system for our cash flow forecasting, which is very important for capital, particularly right now, but has always been really important. And then also geographical mapping of projects. Another thing that we always put out is our budget book. Every year we put out a budget book. It complies with GFOA standards, and we have several awards because of our compliance with GFOA. But our budget book in this software is we're also able to make sure that it is ADA compliant. And it's kind of in a PDF form similar to what we put on a current website right now. But once we implement Open Book, then it's open to the public, fully searchable. We have authentic reports, and then also that mapping, the geographical mapping of our projects will be interactive. And so, folks who want to learn more about what we have going on with our budgeting, operating, and capital, through Open Book, it's going to be a far easier way for anyone in the public to explore that and see and figure that out. So that is all that I have. Are there any questions?
Most recent new software we like on.
Well, for finance, yes, it's our big new toy. It was approved by the board in 2025, the contract, and we began implementing in May of 2025. And so this is the first budget cycle where we're able to use it some. By next year's budget cycle, we're definitely looking forward to it being fully implemented and even figuring out new toys and maybe implementing new things that we might want to do with the software.
Any other questions? Dominica, thank you for your presentation.
Yep, thank you.
That concludes the technology report. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.